What's going on, my people? Happy Thursday. Welcome to Pro Fan Talk. My name is Marcus Thomas. Thank you for joining me. Good Thursday to you. Um, Man, it never stops. We 1 week away from the season to get started. And again, Howie is dropping bombs. Phillies are hitting bombs. I mean, it's nonstop, man. Nonstop. Just when you thought it was safe, the fin that is Howie Roseman rises out of the water. And props to the man because he just keeps getting it done. You say what you want to say, Howie keeps getting it done, man. Sean Young, first out the limo, man. I appreciate you. My grandson Chris is number 2. Rob Povia, you number 3 out the limo, brother. Good to see you, man. It is it's been a crazy week. It's just like the normally you get a calm before the storm right before the season is starting. But this has got to be one of the most active cut days I can remember. Maybe it's just because I'm paying attention a little bit more because of the podcast and things of that nature. But it seems to me like everything is just popping. Vince McDowell, what's popping, dude? Number 4 out the limo, man. I appreciate you, bro. But man, it is every day it was something different. Every day it was something different. First it was Rager, then it was Chauncey, then it was Russell. Man, it just good grief. Glizzy, number 5. Those are my 5 people first out the limo. I appreciate you. Yeah, we just got Trey Sumner. We go talk about Trey. Some interesting things popped up lately. And again, I'm not very familiar with him. I did the same thing everybody else did. Went back, looked up highlight tapes, looked up college stuff. Brian Daly, what's going on, brother? Looked up any footage I could find of him. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. But it's been Howie Roseman, man. He's putting it down, bro. He's putting it down. Ain't really much else you can say about it, but he's doing his thing, man. So let's get into some news here. See what's really happening, man. This was the news of the week. Rager out of here. Finally. He got shipped off to the Vikings. Very interesting that he's going to the Vikings. Wayne Miller, what's going on, bro? So he's going to be with Justin Jefferson. So I made a comment like, you think Justin Jefferson is going to be giving them the arched eyebrow over there in the locker room? I doubt it. They'll probably rib him a little bit. But if not for nothing, I expect him to ball out a little bit, much like what Aguilar did in New England after he got out of here. Sometimes you need a fresh landscape, some new scenery to be rejuvenated. Now, having said that, I thought it was very funny that when we got J-Jaw out of here and sent him to Seattle, the one clip they showed him was getting out of the limo, going into the facility. He's clapping his hands, all excited, and he gets released. He don't even make the roster. So I thought that was funny. But I do compare Jalen Reagor to Aguilar. Jalen Reagor is not as good as Aguilar was. I think Aguilar was a victim of, the social media thing, and then the dude from Philly that started selling the T-shirts, and that stuff just got out of hand. But when you look back at it, Aguilar put up some numbers and had some daggone good games for the Eagles. And he had a pretty decent year last year when he was with New England. So he took advantage of the change in scenery. And what I've said before is Belichick is the kind of guy that'll say, what do you do well? Tell me the one thing you do well, and that's what we're going to do. That's all I need you to do. But we'll see what happens with Rager. Rager's got some good pedigree. He's got a little bit of a legacy going. And when I say legacy, I mean just on the strength of his pops, because his pops was a good player. So he's got talent. The boy's got speed. What's up, Charles? Um, he's got speed, so if he ever puts it all together mentally, um, it, when people say the mental game, that's very difficult to explain. You've been playing this game since you were 10 years old, some earlier, some later, but essentially you've been playing it since you were a kid. Um, this was your dream since you were a kid. And the mental thing, it's hard to explain. It's like you know it when you know it. You know what I mean? It's like for me, uh, the first day I was in camp, and I'm nervous, don't know what to expect. So I get there early. I get out there to get warmed up so I can calm down a little bit. Next thing I know, I'm playing toss with Randall Cunningham, warming him up. You know, line up 10 yards apart. He throws a couple balls. You back up 5 yards. He backs up 5 yards. And then you just extend the length so he can warm his arm up. And I'm in my, we just pitch and catch. And then there was another free agent, I think quarterback lined up next to me. So I would catch the ball, throw it to him, and he would throw it back. That sort of thing. And I'm all giddy because for me, that's Randall Cunningham. That's the guy I've been seeing on, the first generation Madden on the Sega Genesis and the few video games that were out back then. He was the guy. I came up in the era of when I was in high school, ESPN had just become a thing. So, da 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 da. I don't even think that had happened yet till I got into college. But the highlights and Berman and back and all of that kind of stuff had just kind of started. And there was nothing else on TV to watch, nothing else on cable. So all of the highlights, that was all you saw. You didn't have the plethora of media outlets like we have right now. It was ESPN, it was your local news, and that was it. And the only thing you saw on your local news was whoever played your local team. For me, it was whoever played the Bengals. So to be able to see all of the highlights from around the league, and they were showing the big hits, the miraculous throws, Randall Cunningham juking somebody and jumping over somebody and all of that kind of stuff. So he was the guy. So just imagine all of that. And now I'm playing toss with him. And it's early in the morning and the ball is wet and the ball comes right through my hands and busts me dead in the nose. And Randall started laughing. It was like, yo, you all right, Rook? So thought it almost broke my nose, but it did just made me tear up a little bit. But I played it off, picked the ball up, gave it to the other quarterback, and we just kept on tossing. But the mental game, just to get over that hump where you're looking around and you're looking at people that you used to look at when you were a kid. When I was going to college, I used to watch Randall Cunningham and Herschel Walker and Wes Hopkins and Eric Allen. I used to watch those guys. Now I'm standing toe to toe with them. Now I'm in 11 on 11, and Seth Joyner is knocking me on my ass. Like, that's the mental hurdle you have to get over. You have to, there's always a play, at least it was for me. Something happens in camp where something clicks and you realize I can play with these guys. This is where I'm supposed to be. It wasn't a fluke. I didn't get lucky. I had skills and I earned this spot. And sometimes it's, I remember in 707, I'm going against, I don't know who it was, a linebacker that was a draft pick. I was an undrafted free agent. So everything was a challenge to me because I was from Eastern Kentucky, 1AA school, didn't play big schools and everything that goes with that. So now I'm going up against the third or fourth round draft pick, SEC school, all of that kind of stuff, 707. I shake them, catch the pass, and I take off on them and leave them in the dust. And you do enough things like that, and you start to understand, like, hey, the field is still 100 yards long. A yard is still 3 feet long. The same 100 yards I ran for in high school is the same 100 yards I'm running on this field, up in Westchester, in the vet, wherever. It's the same thing. Football is football. And once you get it, once that light clicks on, then you get comfortable. Then you understand what you're looking at, knowing the plays, the difference between knowing the plays and learning the plays. When you're out there on the field, especially when you're a running back or a lineman, where you got to be able to read something and be able to react immediately. Running backs, if you're getting the ball, you got to know who's blocking, who's pulling, what the offensive lineman's assignment is. If there's a tackle head up on the guard, is the guard going to stay on that defensive tackle, or is he going to shed the tackle and go up to the linebacker? Like different things like that. Do you hit the hole too fast? Are you not hitting it fast enough? You got to think about all of that stuff. And that is the difference between if you're thinking about it and you just know it. Those are the guys that perform the best in preseason, are the guys that get the playbook and understand that mental aspect of it quicker than everybody else. Those are the guys that usually make the team because they're not out there thinking. They're out there making plays. Mike, that's a good question. We're going to talk about Miles in a little bit. But Rager's out of here. And just when you thought it was safe, then we get Howie Roseman doing it again. We get Chauncey Gardner. Chauncey Johnson Gardner. That's a mouthful. From New Orleans. We got a really good trash-talking safety that can back it up. This boy can play. He's got a nose for the ball. He's not afraid to come up and make a hit. And as you can see, this is the one thing that everybody keeps showing. This is the clip that everybody shows is when I believe he picked off Brady and just kind of walked up in his face like, what? And, Brady kind of laughed it off, but, but still, the how the stones to be able to go do that, you're not going to do that because everybody knows when it comes to Brady, you don't poke the bear. You don't want to do that because he can carve you up. But to be able to have that type of swag to go up and look at Brady like, yeah, and now what? But you got to be able to back that up. Now, I'm sure, at some point in time, Brady's going to get the best of him. That's just the way it happens. But just to be able to get the best of him at some point in time. And now he's with the Eagles. Brady don't like the Eagles anyways. So now that's just something else to needle him. And I'm good with that. But most importantly, you can talk smack as long as you can back it up. Long as you can back it up. So we'll see what's going to happen. What else is popped? Oh, the bodyguard going to Dallas? Really? I totally forgot that he was with Chicago last year. You didn't hear much about him, and when it comes to an offensive lineman, that's the best situation to be in when ain't nobody talking about you. That means you're doing your job. When you're an offensive lineman, they only talk about you when you jump off sides or when you let a sack, when you give up a sack. So the fact that I didn't hear much about Jason Peters last year means that he must have played pretty solid. He's not what he was when he was with us, but it's got to be solid enough where Jerry Jones is looking to bring him in. It can't be worse than what they have because their offensive line is in tatters. So it can't hurt. And everybody getting on this, nah, he's not going to do that. He wouldn't sell himself out to the enemy. Man, listen. Business is business and friends are friends. Don't confuse the two. This man, if he still got anything in the tank and he want to keep playing, you keep playing. If it's with Dallas, so be it. We don't like it. He might not even like it. But you know what? He going to sign that check. So we don't like to see that because we know there's going to come a time in the future where he's going to shut it down. He's going to sign his one-day contract with the Eagles, and he's going to retire an Eagle. You know that's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. Now, he might catch a little flack because he was with the Cowboys, but come on, man. Ain't nobody. You don't earn that, dude. If you want to keep balling and you can still produce, more power to you, bro. More power to you. I don't like it's the Cowboys, but hey, that's the way it goes. I'm not paying your checks. Jerry is. So, just the fact that he's able to get with a team makes me think that the rumors of Dillard and these teams out here looking for offensive linemen, Tampa Bay, Dallas, and a couple other teams, it was real. What's going on, TK? Payday is a payday. Jake, 100%, bro. Payday is a payday at the end of the day, man. You make that money, you ride that train until they kick you off of it. There's one thing I always, when I get a chance to talk with other players, and sometimes I had them on the show, the one thing I always ask, I said, did you walk away from the game or did the game spit you out? There's a difference. There's a difference. There's a big difference. Some of these guys can't walk. Some of these guys, I mean, back surgery, knee replacement, hip replacement, all of that kind of stuff. I was talking to my wife today and she was asking me about short-term memory loss. I already know because of the years I played football, my short-term memory is garbage. I'll be outside cooking barbecue. I'll come in the house for some barbecue sauce and totally forget. I walk back outside with something, and I already know that that's because of my years of playing football. And these guys, I played for I had a cup of coffee, as they say in the league. But that's enough to get your bell rung. But you talking about a 10-plus year career? Whew. I'll tell anybody, my short career in the NFL was probably a blessing in disguise, especially when now you're seeing all these guys getting up out of here with CTE. You got guys that can't walk now and all the stuff I just mentioned, the surgeries and all that kind of stuff. I am so lucky. I've been blessed. I have never had surgery for nothing. Not an ankle, not a knee, not a finger. I'm a running back. Never had a knee injury, never had a foot injury, never had a wrist injury, nothing. I've had a sprained ankle because I'm a running back. That's going to happen. But I've never broken anything, never torn anything. And these guys got metal parts and can't even go through the airport without something beeping because they got, Black & Decker hips and all of that kind of stuff. Man, I'm lucky, bro. And if you at the age of Jason Peters and you still want to rock and roll and you still able to do it, man, do it. Go ahead and do it. Sean, man. Oh, if you had a son, he signed with Dallas, I'd look for a new son. If you're going to look for a new son, just make sure you look after the check clear. I'm just saying. Because, we don't like Dallas, but don't get it twisted. Jerry pays quite well down in Dallas. Don't get it twisted, bro. So, hey, man, if you can make that money, go ahead and do it, JP. Good for you. Russ. All caps. Russ got paid. Good grief. That's a whole lot of hamburgers right there, man. $246 million extension money. He's got 2 years left on his remaining contract. He's going to make $51 million in the next 2 years. So his extension is going to give him another $246 million. And altogether, that's going to be about 161 million guaranteed. 17 million in 22 this year, 22 million next year, 35.4 million in 2024. And the big thing is, I heard somebody talking about this today. By 2024, the NFL revenue is going to go up. So if the revenue is going up, the salary cap is going up. So that $35.4 million probably is not going to need to be restructured. Usually the last year of a contract, they put the money in the back end because they know nobody's going to try to go to that last year. Everybody wants to try to renegotiate a contract before you get to the last year. Teams know that. So they backload it because the odds of you making it to that last year are slim. Now, 49ers, I believe, they flipped the script on Garoppolo. He went on ahead and signed. He restructured his last deal. He was supposed to make like 20-something million, 22 million, I think, this final year. They got him to renegotiate his contract and come back as a $6 million backup. Now, they can say he's the most expensive backup in the league. That might be true, but if you could have took your shot and got 20-something million somewhere else, but maybe he just didn't want to. Maybe he was getting antsy. Wasn't nobody biting on any deals. And I didn't think if he was going to sign with somebody, I thought it'd have been Cleveland, or it'd have been Seattle. Seattle, I don't know what they're thinking in Seattle. Jimmy Garoppolo is better than what they got out there right now. Period. Cleveland, when the whole situation with Deshaun happened, and then it happened again, and he got suspended. Now they got Jacob Brissett, and I thought Cleveland was a viable option, but they committed to. Looks like that Deshaun Watson is going to be playing by the end of the year. So that was out of the question. So it looked like his best option was to stay in San Francisco, or he didn't want to take the chance. Let me say it like that. He didn't want to take the chance because what it looks like, the Jets are still on the table. You don't know what's going to happen with Zach Wilson. Trying to think of what other teams that are the quarterback situation is iffy. Miami's quarterback situation is iffy. I think Tua is going to play well, but if he doesn't, they're going to be looking to make a change or looking to make a trade. And just like Rager, the possibility of a trade is very high for Garoppolo. So keep that on your radar because that saga is not over yet. That saga is not over yet. He's going to be it because somebody's just playing like garbage or injury. He's going to be trade bait. He's going to be trade bait. Didn't get in the preseason game, so he's not in harm's way. He's going to be a backup. So unless Trey Lance just totally stinks it up. So we'll see what's going to happen with that because, like I said, that scenario is not over. All right, we were talking about Sermon. What's up, sis? My twin sister's on the line. I saw my mom somewhere. Hey, mom. We've got Trey Sermon. We just signed Trey Sermon, and we got LaMichael Perine. Now, again, I did what everybody else did. I went and looked up some highlights, looked up some stats and everything. And from what I've seen, me personal, this is my ex-running back personal opinion. I like Perine better than Sermon. For some reason, what I've seen with Trey Sermon in the game, he looks slow off the ball. He doesn't have no pop coming off the line of scrimmage, and he's not generating much speed or momentum. Perine's a little bit quicker. can get low, get to that second level. Looks like he looks like a bigger version of Boston Scott, in my opinion. So, but why are we keeping 6 running backs? We got Miles Sanders, Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott, Kennedy Brooks, Trey Sermon, and LaMichael Perrine. Why do we need 6 running backs? Now, Sermon is on the practice squad, which means Perrine is going to be on the active roster. So is that telling me something that I don't know about Miles Sanders? I don't know. I know that's putting a little bit of pressure on him, though. I didn't necessarily. In my opinion, he don't need to be in preseason. He did, however, need to be at practice. So everybody else that got nicked and bruised, and I know Bradbury had a hammy. Slay got hurt in Miami. But they all came back within days. Miles Sanders been out almost 3 weeks now. Hasn't practiced, hasn't done anything. So his situation could be a little bit more than everybody's trying to let on. Because if you don't want to play in the preseason games, I get that. But not in practice. You still got to go in practice. So we'll see where that comes. And again, maybe that's Howie knowing the tea leaves, but they see that stuff every day. So I'm going to assume they know what's best. I am a Miles Sanders fan, but I'm also realistic that it would not be surprising if he ends up on IR, PUP, or he just gets injured and they sit him on the bench and go with somebody else. I know Sanders was at practice, but this is game week. We put in the game plan. Practice is not him going full speed, not testing out that hammy. That's what I want to see, Rob. I know he was at practice, but when you do a joint practice and you're doing 11 on 11, that's as close as you're going to get to game speed. You're not going to go full speed because you're not getting put on the ground. But as far as running backs go, you're still hitting that hole as hard as you can. You're still trying to get to that second level. So you got to have that burst. So if there's any issues with your hamstrings or your ankles or your knees, anything like that, it's going to show up because you're not going to have that quickness. You're not going to have that burst. You're not going to be able to push off. That's the kind of stuff that matters. That's what you want to see in practice. I want to see, I don't know if anybody saw the little piece they did on Brandon Graham when Brandon Graham was rehabbing. He was complaining how much he hate running and all this and all that. But when he got out there on that field, what did everybody say? It don't even look like BG was injured. You can't tell. He's quick again. That's what you need. That's part of the mental game I was talking about earlier, especially when you're dealing with players that were injured. The biggest mental is getting to the point where your mind tells your body, yes, I can go as fast as I used to. When you pop an Achilles, when you tear a knee and you're done rehabbing and your knee is 3 times stronger than it used to be, but your mind says, I don't know if I can make that cut because the last time I made that cut, my knee popped, my Achilles popped, my hamstring popped. So after you've done with rehab, you got to get your mind together. And in a situation like that, Brandon Graham was lucky because we did the joint practices and you had to have that. He's got to come off the line quick. He still has to have that burst off the line. And he proved that to himself. So now he has no issues. He has no question marks on how his body is going to perform. I don't know about Miles because he hasn't, I believe he can, but he hasn't really done anything to show me. So I'm hoping he'll have it together. for the first game, and all I need him to do, break off a 20, 30-yard run and let me know you got that burst and run away from somebody. I see you, Vince. Yeah, I don't, unless I think I said this a couple weeks ago, unless Miles Sanders makes it to the Pro Bowl. Unless he makes it to the Pro Bowl and he just does something where it's just off the chain and he can demand the money because you earned it. You've earned it. Unless he does something like that, I agree. This will be his last year. So, interestingly enough, are we moving towards that bigger back now? Miles Sanders, 5'11", 212. Right? Kennedy Brooks, 5'11", 214. Trey Sermon, 6', 216. LaMichael Perrine, 5'11", 216. The smallest backs we got, Boston Scott is 5'6", 203. And Kenny Gainwell is 5'9", 201. I didn't realize that Gainwell was that small. I thought he was like 5'10", 5'11". To me, he looks a little bit more leaner. Looks a little taller. I didn't realize he was that small. Scott, still that guy. Boston Scott, for his size, is, in my opinion, still our best tackle-to-tackle runner. He's got decent speed. He can get on the outside, but he's not going to, at least I haven't seen him run away from anybody. He don't have Darren Sproles speed, nothing like that. But he can get to the second level and create a little bit of separation and get some big gains. But again, I haven't seen him run away from anyone. I know Miles Sanders can run away from folks. He just can't seem to get to the end zone. And not for nothing, man. Hold on. I was thinking about this. That's why I gave him his own slide. Let me make that big. Why can't we bring Jordan Howard back? A big back, familiar with Philadelphia. I think he would be a good addition. You know he can play. You know he can take the punishment. You know he's going to hit the hole. He's only 27 years old. It's not like he's old. So I would have rather, if I'm GM, I'd get rid of Kennedy Brooks. I would have kept Huntley, cut Brooks, and signed Jordan. Jordan becomes the fourth running back. Kennedy Brooks and Perrine, both of them are a practice squad. Maybe one of them is a special teamers. And that way you got 5 running backs. One's on practice squad. The other one's strictly a special team. But I like Jordan Howard. I even like I wanted to see him bring back Corey Clement. Another big back, good speed for somebody his size, not afraid to block, can catch the ball at his size. Why not? Again, somebody familiar with Philadelphia. I think Corey Clement would have been a great re-sign. Bring him back here to I don't know. That's just me. You're right, Sean. He every time he got the ball, he moved the pile. He moved the pile, man. I'm with you on that one. But I would love to have seen Jordan Howard and Corey Clement. Because right now, in my opinion, Boston Scott is our best tackle-to-tackle runner. Miles, I'm interested to see what they do with Miles in the passing game. Whether they going to just send him out on a swing or a wide, or he's the check down. He gets a bad rap for not being a great receiver, but he doesn't have to be a good receiver. All you need to do is catch the check down. You can work with the wide receivers a couple times during the week and go for that long streak route just to catch the ball in traffic and stuff like that. You can teach somebody how to do that. I was not a great receiver coming out, and he laughs when I say this. Fred Barnett saw me in practice one day. I went one-on-one with Mike Reed. He was a DB, like a third-round draft pick from North Carolina State. And great ball, jumped up and got it, and ended up dropping the ball. And I remember Fred saying, when you catch the ball, you catch the ball. And he put his hands out. He said, catch it up here. Don't let it come down. You catch it, go up and get it. Catch it with your hands. And ever since then, I was trying to catch the ball with my hands. And it made me a better receiver. It's that simple. It's not like you can't teach a running back how to be a better receiver. So we'll see what they're gonna do with all these running backs, man. I don't know. Because and all of this, we got all these running backs. Right? Now we got 6 running backs, 5 gonna be on active, and you have 1 practice squad. Maybe I believe the rules are still the same where they're gonna, deactivate a couple people and all that kind of stuff every game. So one of those running backs could be, they might have 4 on the active roster, on the game roster, and then one of the running backs is probably be deemed inactive or something like that. That's what happened to me the whole year in '93. It would be Herschel, Heath, James Joseph, Vaughn Hebron, and I would be the 5th running back. They would make me dress. I would dress, go warm up, and then the coach would say, Marcus, we're going to make you inactive. Go ahead, put your clothes back on. And I would be one of those dudes on the sidelines with a lanyard and a tag with my jacket on. And they did that they did that basically the whole year. And I would travel. I would go to most of the games. And yeah. So we'll see what they do with that. I want to see, because of all these running backs, the point I was getting to is, are you gonna commit to running the ball? And are you gonna commit, and I'm talking about Sirianni or Steichen, whoever's calling the plays, are you going to commit to running the ball with the running backs? That's what I want to see. Are you going to be committed to running the ball with the running backs, not the RPOs? Big Greg, what's going on, dude? Thanks for joining me, Mike. So, before I get too far, let me, I saw this right before we went live. This is from John McMullen on Twitter. By the way, follow me at Coach_Marcus06 on Twitter. The reason why I'm pumping Twitter is because lately Facebook has been just getting an attitude. I don't know if Facebook got COVID or something. I don't know. But I got shadow banned a couple times, and I was like, where did this come from? So I don't know if they're changing the rules or the algorithms or all whatever that stuff is, but normally I'm pretty in tune with the tech, but Facebook be confusing the hell out of me sometimes. So hit me up on Twitter. I'm trying to boost up my Twitter so I don't have to rely on Facebook so much. But in any case, this is about Trey Sermon. This is from John McMullen, at JF McMullen on Twitter. Trey Sermon lost out to undrafted rookie Jordan Mason with the 49ers. John Lynch, this was John Lynch's comment on Sermon. On Trey, it's been much chronicled, his readiness last year. Not that he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to play like we felt we needed him to play last year. To Trey's credit, he was challenged. What the hell does challenge mean? I have no idea what that means. He was challenged. Challenged with what? I don't understand that. So I'm going to do some more homework on that. What was he challenged with? Was something going on at home? Was it a personal issue? I don't know. It's weird. Chuck says happy with Brad Jordan. Decent, but he's not as good as most Eagles fans think he is. We can do better. I don't know, man. He seemed solid and he seemed consistent. No, he wasn't gonna break too many long ones, but if you needed somebody to move the chains, he would move the chains. I don't need much more than that. He did what he needed to do. So I don't know. What's up, Brian? Best defense in NFC East. Yep. I always be forgetting my poll question. My poll question was the Eagles now have on paper the best defense in NFC. Yes. Yes, they do. So Sermon was challenged because what Kyle asked his running backs to do isn't what Sermon used to do. Yeah, I get that. I get it. But having looked at some of the film, and I'll say it again, he does not look quick to me. Maybe it was something else. It was a very small sample size. Because now, of course, you see the trade, and all of a sudden there's highlight tapes. I'm like, where did these highlight tapes come from? Were these here the whole time? But I looked at them. I didn't see anything that amazed me. And I thought the same thing when I saw Kennedy Brooks. I was like, he's okay. So, well, we'll see. We'll see. Anybody can be good on our with our line. You know what I'm saying? So anybody can be good. Hey, what's going on, Nicky Cunningham? Appreciate you joining. Sermon has great footwork and agility. He trained on the footwork king. You can tell he did. Well, I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. I hope he gets his opportunity, and I hope he turns out well. But I got to look at it like this. If things go the way that I hope they go, we don't need him. Because that means Miles Sanders is doing what he needs to do. That means Boston Scott and Gainwell are doing what they need to do. The offensive line is doing what they need to do. So we won't need him. But we'll find out. And you can all see, I thought this was funny, so I posted it up. Covey Allen and Kane practice squad at Law. Covey Allen and Kane does sound like a law office. But happy to see these guys make the practice squad, man. Devin Allen, I don't know what to make of him. I know he's fast. I'd like to see what they can do with him. Kane, I just think Kane earned his spot in preseason. He balled out, had a good camp, had good preseason games. He did kind of fall off against Miami, but everybody fell off against Miami. So, you know, but I think he earned his spot on the team. So, Britton Covey, we're gonna need a kick returner, punt returner. If you look at the depth chart, Watkins and Ward are KRPR. So we'll see what they're gonna do. That's the big question mark. Our special teams, because even no fault of his own, I didn't really see much from Covey, but you can't do a kick return in preseason because everybody kicks the ball out of the end zone. And he didn't really get an opportunity to return too many punts. I mean, and at the end of the day, it's punt return. I mean, but then you see that kid from the USFL down in Dallas, and that boy is gonna be a problem. So they're out there. We'll see what's gonna happen. I am very concerned about our special teams play. The two big question marks I have for this year, you got Jalen Hurts. Everybody, that's the number one question mark. Our special teams play and our red zone offense. Our red zone offense last year was garbage. So we've got to be better in red zone. And that was not all on Hurts. We had to have at least 5 penalties, 5 or 6 penalties from running that damn rub play that we couldn't seem to get right every time they would throw offensive pass interference on us. That had to cost us like, I want to say like 5 or 6 touchdowns. Maybe I can't be over exaggerating that. And just that the penalties, and it just seemed like we couldn't get it done in the red zone. So, but that's it. And again, I'm curious as to what Reed Senate was horrible. Horrible. Chris, I did see that Andre Dillard fractured his arm, but I did see something else that said uh, it's not gonna prevent him from playing, basically. So uh, I got the sense that there was no big deal. Um, Ian Book, Reed Senate. Reed Senate was horrible. He did not have a good camp. He did not have good any preseason games. He threw that one long pass to Devin Allen, and that was it. Everything, not everything, but for the most part, he really did not look the part in training camp, and definitely at the preseason game. So this is one of those situations. I don't know why they're deciding to keep him. If you're gonna pick up Ian Book, why are you keeping Reed Senate? Because it looks like Book is going to send its practice squad, which means Book's the third quarterback. So he's holding the clipboard. So you got Reed Senate why didn't you keep Carson Strong? That's another question mark. Why the hell what was that? Why do you pay somebody one of the highest undrafted free agent contracts and then cut him? If not for nothing, keep him and put him on the practice squad. Yeah, Chuck. Senate was hot garbage, bro. Hot garbage. And stuff like that. This is like a personal thing. Is when you hear me say there's plenty of people, the guys in the league that shouldn't be. There's plenty of people that should be that are not. Somebody is not getting an opportunity at some position because Reed Senate. That's where the numbers game come in. You take Reed Senate off, you gotta fill that spot. And there's somebody out there that deserves another shot, but it's not getting it. That stuff like that just irritates me. That's the business of the game. That's the beast of it. But still, it just irks me. He got a shot in camp and didn't he didn't for the same reason we want Rager out of here. It's the same as something happens and Reedson is our quarterback, we in trouble. Now, I don't know much about Ian Book. I know, I believe he's from Notre Dame, but I didn't watch Notre Dame, so I don't know if he's good or not. Everybody looks good in college. So I don't understand that at all. You had a guy that you brought in that had the world's strongest arm, and everybody knew he didn't have no knees, unless the whole knee thing and bad legs thing was above and beyond what they reported. Because I don't even remember seeing Carson Strong in the preseason. I couldn't tell you one play that I saw him in that I remember. He didn't do anything that would cause you to remember. Reed Senate did. He threw a lot of picks and one long pass to to Devin Allen. So you remember the bad and the good. Come on, Sean. You wrong for that, dude. I ain't even gonna put that one up. It's a bad pun. uh, but I don't know, man. I just this is my one thing with Sirianni. Um, Making that decision, like, listen, this guy is not the best guy to have on his team. He's not. Ooh, daggone, Nikki. That's harsh. I'd rather watch the tight end hand the ball off the running backs for 60 minutes than watch Sennett play. Sennett was bad. Oof. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. So um I I don't get that, man. I just don't I don't know. I don't know. Same same logic that kept Rager, same logic that drafted J Jaw is the same logic that would keep Reed Sennett. You know what your eyes told you, unless he was just pumping out answers in film study. That's a possibility. That's something that people don't see. Because you could be garbage on the field, but you can still impress in film study. You go back and look at Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson was horrible as starting quarterback with the Eagles. It was such an upgrade when they finally let Donovan start, because Doug just wasn't good. He spent all them years in Green Bay with Holmgren. He was part of that tree. Andy Reid was his coach, but Andy Reid brought him so he could teach Donovan the offense. He wasn't the best quarterback to start. We knew that. His job was to teach Donovan the offense, and when Donovan was ready, he'd hand off the baton. We knew that's what it was for. And when it was time for it to happen, it happened. And Donovan took his lumps, but the lumps that Donovan had to take was much easier to swallow than you've seen in other situations. Let me say it like that. He wasn't Justin Fields like Justin Fields rookie year or Trey Lance rookie year, like all of that stuff. So there's some truth to that. There's some credence to that. So he might be a whiz in the film room. He just can't execute. Maybe he'll end up being a great coach or something like that. Maybe he'll end up being like Dan Orlovsky, on ESPN every day. And the only thing you remember about Dan Orlovsky was when he ran out the back of the end zone thinking he was still in play. So, I don't know. I would like to see one of these intrepid reporters to pose that question in a press conference. I would be interested to hear that answer. So, let me see. Strong had horrible interviews with teams pre-draft. I wonder if that played in. So, no. So here's the thing with that, Chuck. Interviews, teams just want to get some type of warm and fuzzy feeling with you. That has nothing to do with what happens on the field, because it's been proven. You can go back years, back when I played in the 90s, before I played, when they gave so much more credence to tests and Wonderlic and all of that kind of crap. And all of those guys that used to ace that stuff used to just they sucked it up on the field. You go back and you look at all of those the big name quarterbacks that came out of all of these big schools, from Notre Dame's, from the Bamas, from the Floridas, from the Florida States, any big school you can think of. And you got the stereotypical 6'4", 6'6" quarterback with the cannon arm, and he threw for 8 million yards in this conference versus this team versus that defense, all of that kind of stuff. And they either dud out. The duds, they're nowhere near what their potential was, or they're just not good at all. You have more of that than somebody like Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert. Those guys are the unicorns. You don't see that often. And because we are in a space now where everything is immediate, everything has to be, I need you to be good, not now, but right now. And that doesn't make sense. You want somebody to come in The majority of people uh, have had no. They don't want to see Jalen Hurts be our quarterback at all. He's not that guy. He can't do this, can't do that. And it's like, how do you know? Because he was a second round pick. He's not 6'4". He's a athletic quarterback. His throwing is subpar. So we want somebody to be 6'5" or 6'3" and above, have a strong arm, not a running quarterback, but put up the same stats that Jalen Hurts did, minus the running. That's what people want, because they want the optics to look like they got, the best quarterback in the world. How many people did you think, if you've ever went back and go back and watch Jeff George play, ticked every box. He was big. His arm is almost unequaled. And he was that dude. But he could not win you a game and save his life. He definitely wasn't taking you to the playoffs, and he definitely wasn't win the Super Bowl. You figured that out pretty quickly. Every now and then, he would throw the ball. He would throw an 80-yard dart. That was it. Didn't strike me as a good leader. He was just like, there are more situations like that than you do when you find somebody like Justin Herbert, or look at Matthew Stafford. Look how long Matthew Stafford labored in Detroit before they got rid of him. So listen, man, you got to give Jalen Hurts time to do what he got to do to grow. You will know, we will know at the end of this year whether Jalen Hurts is that guy or not, regardless if we make the playoffs or not. We will have seen enough of a legitimate sample size to give a good opinion of Jalen Hurts. And in my opinion, it doesn't have to, if we don't go to the playoffs, I expect that to happen. But if we don't, there are a myriad of reasons why that might not happen. If we don't go to the playoffs because of Jalen Hurts, I understand. But if it's because we got injuries and this, that, and the other, maybe not so much. But without a shadow of a doubt, we will know by the end of this year. So gotta be. Has to be. What Roseman has done from the draft till today, this dude is batting 1,000. Batting 1,000. The two biggest whiffs since he's been the man. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Jalen Reagor. Both of them gone. He got value back for him. What else do you want him to do? Maybe he didn't pull that trigger soon enough. You can argue that. But also I can argue when you make a decision, you ride with your decision. And you see things. Again, you see things. I guarantee you, the way Jalen Reagor was balling in camp, he had seen that before. So when you see stuff like that on an everyday basis, you're like, dude, I know it's there. How come it's not manifesting on the field? That's the question that people are trying to, that's the mental hurdle that you're trying to figure out. Like, why can't you put all this together? Dude, I saw you ran the 4.2 whatever. Why can't you run by that guy? Why can't you run by that DB, create separation? Like, he was waiting for Jalen Reagor to put it together. He didn't want to cut him. You don't ever want to cut him. Because if you got to cut him, that means he's not producing for the team. So you're going to give him every opportunity. But having said all of that, he got rid of the two biggest mistakes. Got something for him. Now, it played out by J-Jaw getting cut, not even making the team. And then we'll see what happens with Rager. I don't think Rager is going to get cut. He'll play, and we'll see if he can make some. Maybe he'll play special teams down there and just, new change of scenery in Minnesota. So, but definitely Howie, GM of the year. Got my vote, bro. Got my vote. So we are here, people. This is it. You got college football tonight. If you get a chance, take a look at NC State. Check out my man Devin Leary, kid I used to coach at Gloucester Township. Went and played at Timber Creek. Now he's at NC State, lighting it up, setting all them ACC records. His little brother, Donovan, is in University of Illinois, so try to check him out. It's not his time yet, but he'll be there soon enough. So I appreciate y'all for joining in. The chat was fire tonight. I appreciate it. Dylan, you like that picture of Howie? There you go, dude. So, but hey, man, I appreciate y'all showing me the love, man. John, I see you. Nikki, I see you. Mom, I see you. Chuck, I'll be checking y'all out later on tonight, Chuck. Check out my boy Chuck and his squad at Birds of a Feather tonight at 9:30 p.m. Same bat channel, man. Grandson, I see you. Love you. Brian, thanks for jumping on, man. Sean, as usual, bro. I appreciate you. Vince, I appreciate you. Robert Gilchrist, I appreciate you. Twin Sis, if you still on here, appreciate you and love you. Dwayne, Wayne Miller, TK, Pete Evans. Much love, man. I'm going to get up out of here. I will see you next week. It's going to be on and popping because next week is the real deal. So let's get it started, man. All right. Go Birds. We out.